everybody, and welcome back to Grandview Entertainment. My name is Ryan, and today we'll be talking about my fan cast choices for the new James Bond. It was back a couple weeks ago that Amazon MGM, the now owners of the James Bond franchise, officially announced that they would be doing the reboot and that they'll be starting casting soon. Obviously, we know Denis Villeneuve will be directing, as he's obviously most popular for the Dune movies. But like they said a week ago or so, they announced that they're officially, beginning casting for the role. So with that news being out, I wanted to give you my 3 favorite choices who I would personally like to see the next James Bond be. Let me know, please, in the comments who you would like to see be the next James Bond. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
At number 3, I have Jacob Elordi.
So at number 3, I have Jacob Elordi, and for Jacob Elordi, he is probably the most popular actor on my list. But he was in the official statement back a year ago, or at least rumored statement that was between him, Tom Holland, and another actor. I can't remember their name, but he has been now more publicly and more popularly discussed with the James Bond character, and I think Jacob Elordi is a great actor from what I've seen him. I will admit I have not seen him in a lot of the stuff he has made is not really, I guess, targeted for me, and more not really in some of the stuff that I'm most interested in. But without a doubt, from the acting I have seen of him, I think he is a really good actor, and I think there's definitely pros to him being James Bond. At the same time, I think it's mostly, I feel, want to go with an unknown actor with James Bond. I mean, I guess Pierce Brosnan, I feel like maybe was more well known at the time. I could be mistaken with that, but for most of the James Bonds, it's kind of like similar to with Spider-Man and Superman and some of these other roles that are more popular. You kind of want a more unknown actor so they can become the role. And obviously with Jacob Elordi, that would not be the case, but at the same time, I do see the potential there with him. I mean, one of the biggest cons, also some people I've noticed, I mean, obviously he's not British, but I think he's a good actor and he can pull that off, but also is that, he is like 6'7", I believe. I don't know the exact, I was trying to think of his exact, I don't know the exact height off the top of my head, but I know he is taller, so I guess I've heard that criticism, and I could kind of see that one, that it's, for a more spy type, I guess you're not really very secretive if you're 6'7". So, I mean, while that shouldn't be a main deterror from him getting the role, I still think there are better options, but I have seen this as a popular fan choice, and I've seen this name more thrown around a little bit. And at first I was didn't know how to feel about it, but now I've come more around to it, and I definitely feel like this is a more realistic option.
At number 2, I have Jack Lowden.
So on my second spot, I had Jack Lowden. Now, I know a lot of you are not as familiar with this actor. I know I have personally not seen him in any things. I've seen a few clips after hearing his name was more popular in the fan cast choicing. So this, obviously, I won't have a ton to say on him, but I will say he definitely, in my opinion, even in my number 1, I think he beats in some senses, where I definitely get the very much James Bond aesthetic from him. And I could definitely see him pulling off the character, from a pure visual standpoint. He has the look of a James Bond, a guy who would be James Bond, and as a spy. Like I said, the biggest deterror for me is I have not seen him in much, and out of his movies and stuff he has been in, he hasn't really been in anything notable that I'm like, even if I haven't seen it, I've heard of it. So that is a little bit of a deterror, but at the same time, obviously we just had, for Superman, David Cornsweet, who I had not seen in anything, I believe, before Superman. I think I saw him maybe in Twisters, where he had a small role. But same aspect, where he was very unknown. But, that's why I don't have much to say about him. But from, the small clips I've seen, he seems like a good actor, and he definitely has the aesthetic to play James Bond.
At number 1, I have Henry Cavill.
So at the number 1 spot, I had Henry Cavill. And now this one is a very interesting choice, because I will definitely start with the biggest detractor. And when I was making this list, it was very hard for me to find my number 1. I believe Callum Turner, I believe I could be mispronouncing that name, It's a very popular fan cast for a lot of other people, and I think he's a great actor, and I would not be opposed to him being James Bond. But for me, I don't know, I feel like he's missing something. And I can't tell you what that is either, because I'm trying to figure it out myself. But for me, for a long time, it has been Henry Cavill as my personal favorite for James Bond. I know that kind of goes against the more unknown route, but I feel like Henry Cavill is an actor who is known, but at the same time, not as well known. Like, he has played Superman. He's been in a Mission Impossible movie, but he's not as big of a star as you feel he would for being in those roles. So at the same time, I think Henry Cavill is a very talented actor. And I say he definitely feels like he has the aesthetic to play James Bond. He definitely has, the vibe in that sense. But obviously the big deter is maybe he's not as, unknown for some people. But also for other people like myself, when considering this, is that he is, I believe, 43 currently. And if they're just starting casting now, the earliest they start filming next year, he'll be 44. So that could be a main deterrent away, even though for his age he looks pretty good. And I could definitely still believe him being James Bond. But I don't know, I feel like even though he's a little older, for me, it just makes a little bit too much sense, for me personally, that he would be James Bond. I could definitely see it pulling off. Obviously, he's British. And he very much gives off the James Bond vibe. That's the best way I can describe it. And I also have seen him acting, and he's a very good actor. I hope to see him in even more. So definitely would be very happy with this casting of Henry Cavill as the new James Bond. And that's going to do it for today's video. Please let me know in the comment section, who would you guys like to see as the next James Bond? Let me know, of course, what you think of my list. Please leave me your favorite or whoever you'd like to see in the role. And as always, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that'd be very much appreciated. And I will see you in the next video.